Hey everyone, it's Flash, your squatter hunter with Squatter Talk Tuesday. Today I'm excited to have a guest come with us and share her story. She is a Berkeley, California homeowner, and she is struggling with someone with somewhat of a nightmare that she wants to share with us today. Berkeley, California, they're kind of in their own bubble, and she's going to explain how they favor non-paying tenants and squatters, probably even more than some areas in California. So I'm excited to have a guest in here today. And, we can, I think it's important for people to hear what I hear and hear these horrific stories and to be able to put yourself in their shoes. And, I think I need to fix my light here a second. I think it's important. So I'm going to start having homeowners on here to, I don't know if that's better. Okay. Well, maybe a little. I want to say that I'm going to say it at the end of the show, but also, I appreciate you guys being here. I've told you before, this gives me a chance to speak with you directly for, members of the channel that want to chime in, ask any questions, things like that. If you have a story that you want to share and you want to be a guest, or you have something that you think that you can add to Squatter Talk Tuesdays, I'm going to tell you, email flash at outside the box, put it right here, flash at outside the box with flash.com. Tell me your story. Tell me how you think that you can be a part of and contribute to this show and something that maybe you think that homeowners should hear. And I may want to schedule a Zoom with you ahead of time, but I'm going to welcome guests on to tell their stories. That is something that I think that, that I should offer, and people can get a lot out of hearing from the actual people that I'm hearing from. And considering it was the stories that were coming across to me that were, that was like an initial part of why I even started Squatter Hunters in the first place. I mean, in the beginning, I was totally fine with helping my mom out, being the good son, getting squatters out, go on with my life. But it was people reaching out, asking, begging for help. That's what influenced me to start helping others by creating Squatter Hunters and fighting for law change. So I'm going to, bring on our guest, and she's going to, she's going to come in and tell our story. Feel free to ask any questions, make any comments. If she can answer any questions, or if I can answer any questions, then we will absolutely try. But, if you're curious about the situation, ask her, and she will, I'm sure, do the best she can to answer as well. So without any, I'll say further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest. So let's hear. Let me add her to the stage, and we can welcome. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm here.
Good. We can see and hear you too. So I have not announced your name because I didn't know how you wanted to be addressed. So you can address yourself or introduce yourself however you would like.
Okay, my name's Jeannie, and I am a landlord in Berkeley, and I have a few units, and I've been doing it in Berkeley for 4 years now, and it has been quite a 4 years. Should I turn off that light behind me? Anyways. Maybe this is better. Anyway, so
is Berkeley the first place that you've owned homes?
No, I still have it. I have a condo in Walnut Creek, okay. And that woman is an angel. She's just an angel. And so I don't mess with that, right? Like if you're an angel, I'm not gonna give you any troubles. And then I have also my dad's house in Concord, and they are angels as well. And so I had no idea when I invested this inheritance in the Berkeley rentals that it would be mind-bogglingly difficult. I mean, just on a good day, It's difficult because there is what they call the Berkeley Rent Board, and it's almost like harassment. I've had them like double bill me, and you're kind of like, why am I getting double billed? And, oh, well, you never paid. And I'm basically say, well, you never had my address, and, well, you're going to have to fight that. So Berkeley is extremely, extremely, extremely hard to be a landlord in.
So this is like twofold here, because you're able to share issues with Berkeley and then also your own situation. And
I guess
so you've been in multiple places, so you can absolutely testify to the differences between one place and another place, actually both in California.
Yes, only a mere 20 miles apart. Yes.
Wow. So do you, well, I guess, what do you think the worst thing about the Berkeley, how do you find them, like this Berkeley Rental Board? What do you think is what's the first thing you noticed that was like, wow, how did I get myself into this?
I think it was when if you don't pay the fee per unit on time, they charge you 100% late fee. And so I think it was $156 per unit. And then the next year it was like $266 per unit. And then the following year it was $366 per unit. And so there's nobody on the rent board who actually owns. As far as I know, a neighbor told me that nobody on the rent board actually owns. They're all renters. So they are setting the standard and the rules for how things are done, but they don't understand mortgages. They don't understand what a joy it is to unclog, somebody's hair, or clean their stove or their oven, or clean up their mess.
And when I hear this, I think right away, oh my gosh, this is like a topic that I can run with, because first of all, and a lot of the stuff about Berkeley, I'm just learning for the first time right now. So just like everyone else, but right away, the first thing I think of is that's totally against typical rules. Like, you have to be an owner to be part of a board, to be part of an HOA, to be part of any kind of system. You typically have to be an owner within that system. So that seems like it would be completely against the rules to begin with. And then California is supposed to put a cap on certain things, like a late fee at 100%. It seems like that should be wrong also. That's
right. I mean, if you didn't have my address for a year, is it my fault? So they're very incompetent. And I'm trying to be nice, but basically people know that they can go to the rent board for help, and they will help the tenant, but they won't be all that nice to a landlord.
If you go to them first, does that help?
I think they know who I am now, because I've been very, very, very nice. But they don't give you a whole lot of help.
Okay. So, maybe I will be reaching out to them and bringing more attention to them, and we'll see how they react to that.
Right. Like, I was just thinking, there's certain things that have happened. Anyways, I guess I'll just move on from that. But
so tell us about your story.
Okay, so I had a house with 3 housemates, and to move out, Marissa, who's an awesome person, says, I'm looking for 2 new housemates. Okay. And then she calls me back and she says, I can't get anybody for this price. So I bring it down, because rents have gone down in Berkeley. So I take down the rent $200. And she goes, voila, I've got 2 new housemates. Great. And I asked for their references. Now, granted, this is where I dropped the ball. My mother had passed away about 2 months before. So I just sort of dropped the ball. One of them is great. She gives me her references. I call them. They're great. Da, 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 da. The other one moves in, gets a key because the housemate let her in. You know, it's like, oh, I need you in, pay your rent, and then we'll deal with the landlord because we're all assuming that you're an upstanding Berkeley student type person. And Berkeley students are very on top of their game. So she gets the key, she gets in, and then I send them the lease. It takes about 3 weeks to get the lease. Then the really great tenant is asking her what's going on. And also then I got her references, and two of her reference, I know her references were fake. One of them was definitely fake. So what people will do when they are not good tenants is they basically give you a fake landlord reference. And that fake landlord reference, their friend will lie to you and say, oh, she's great. I just looked it up right now. And I remember one of the red flags, because I say, is she quiet, clean, and pays on time? And one of the red flags was, yes, she's quiet, clean, and always pays on time. This always was the big red flag. It's just, why did you have to say always? Paying on time is paying on time. So she used fake references as far as I can tell. She had her friends basically act like her landlords. And then because I was kind of discombobulated, I didn't get her employment information. So things are starting to get weird. And then then she says, I don't have the money for the security deposit. That's weird. The original tenant, Marissa, who's so awesome, was freaking out. And then all of a sudden the original tenant says, I'm out of here. I can't stand this woman. So she's gone. And then I find out that the other person has been paying Fran's rent for her. And I also find out from the original tenant, because when the original tenant was moving out, she was afraid to be there because Fran had stolen her car keys and left them on the rapid transit, did some screaming, throwing of glass in the sink. So loud, the screaming was so loud that the tenant upstairs called mental health. I believe mental health came, but I don't know if the door was answered. So it became quite apparent very clearly that this person was never going to give me the security deposit. I think she paid me a fourth of the security deposit, which was $263. It was a little over $1,000 security deposit. So, I want the payment plan. Sure, fine. I'll put you on the payment plan. Never gave me the rest of the security deposit. I think she paid 1 month's rent in November. Then she got the other nice person to pay her rent in December. Then she got her other really nice friend, housemate, to pay her rent in January. Then I convinced all of them to move out. So Fran gave me $700, 3/4 of her rent, because she deducted that quarter security deposit from her February rent. In January, she basically said, I'm going to move out on March 1st. On February 25th, she said, I rescind my move out notice, which is allowed in Berkeley.
Okay.
So I have not, and so she's sitting in a house that's $3,500 a month. She has been sitting there March, April, May, June. I talked to a lawyer and he said, you have to allow her to get housemates. I allowed her to get housemates. No, don't. I haven't heard of any housemates. If she did get housemates, I'm pretty sure she would take the money they give them, because also the counselor who helps UC Berkeley students with their housing in Berkeley. The lawyer who works with UC Berkeley, he actually told one of the nice people who was giving her rent money, this is a familiar name. Oh, she's done this before. So this is somebody who is practiced at, my general experience with people who are really nasty and get away with it is that they've been practicing this for many, many, many years. They are good at screwing over people because they've probably been doing it since they were young.
Does this person, so you believe that she's been doing this, that this was all calculated, that she has a system down, and now is she telling you basically, evict me?
She will not talk to me. She will not respond to me. We had a few interactions early on. And what she did is she wrote me a long letter, basically saying, you've been harassing me. So when I put an eviction or a 3-day notice to pay or quit on her door, she had a kind of anti-landlord organization put a notice on the door for me to read, basically saying that I am harassing Fran and they're watching me. And I emailed them and I said, how can you verify that I am harassing her? Because quite honestly, she's been harassing the housemates and stealing from them and yelling and throwing things. So I never heard back from them. So I'm going back to your original question. So she said I was harassing her. I needed to stop doing that, which I never did. She had a huge list of things that needed to be fixed. We had the city of Berkeley come in and there wasn't anything that she had listed that needed to be fixed.
It's all harassment. It's just a game. One of the things that both squatters and non-paying tenants do is the first thing they say is you're harassing me, because they know that if they can keep you away from them, they're living for free. Now I want to point out that, and I've mentioned this to you, but I want to point out on here that the person you're dealing with is not a squatter. They are, in all legal terms, they are a non-paying tenant. What does the Berkeley Rental Group say to you when you talk to them about it?
I haven't really tried much because they basically say you need to do mediation. Well, if I did mediation, she wouldn't come. I offered her money and she sent me the link to the Berkeley Rent Board if I want to pay her to leave. And on that link, it says the tenant has the right to rescind within a month of leaving. So maybe we would agree that I would give her $10,000 to leave, but a month before she would rescind again. So there's no point. It is crazy. So I'm a teacher and I have a lot of students. One student said, oh yeah, my parents are having a hard time with that in Brentwood. They have a squatter. I have another student who says, oh, my grandparents are having a hard time with that. They have a place up in Lake County. My neighbor across the street her brother had a house in Berkeley. He went through it. Somebody else my son's friend's dad at the pool, he has a squatter. So it is like an epidemic in California because they know we can't do anything. Our hands are tied. I can't turn off the heat, even in the summer. I can't turn off the water, even though I'm paying for the water.
Yeah. Berkeley is their own community. However, there are, some of the California laws that I'm sure would apply in Berkeley as well. So, I know that more information can be found out about, the differences. I certainly want to reach out with your permission. I want to reach out to this Berkeley. If you send me the Berkeley, rental board info, I would like permission to reach out to this board and, and maybe with this board, maybe the board can influence her to mediate with me.
Sounds like a great idea.
So that might be, an avenue that we address, and we can talk after, outside of this video. But so you've been going through this, dealing with her for months, with no end in sight. And how does it make you feel?
Let me back up here. When you talk to people about the laws, it doesn't seem like anybody knows the laws. I've talked to multiple lawyers, and I get lots of conflicting information, and most of the information is don't evict because it's so expensive. Try to buy her out. It'll take you 4 to 5 to 6 months to evict. But going back to how it makes me feel. Okay, I've got rentals. I feel like I have a big backpack on all the time. I have a big backpack on all the time because it's a big financial risk.
Yeah.
In addition to having the big backpack on all the time, I have a leash. I have this leash on my neck. And so I can't tell you how many sleepless nights, how many mornings I have woken up, and the first thing on my mind is Fran Gaze. So I don't know how much I was dreaming about her, but that's the first thing on my mind when I wake up for months is Fran Gaze, somebody I don't know, somebody who won't talk to me. I'm actually pretty good with people. I'm a teacher. And so I've lost some weight. Don't know if that's good or bad, but you just can't wait to get out. I mean, you have to pray or chant or say affirmations to get through it. You have to pray or chant or meditate or whatever you need to do to get through it, because the rentals were hard in the first place, but now I have a leech sucking $3,500 a month from money that I could be spending on somebody's new windows or their new refrigerator or new screens or a new toilet, or money that I could perhaps pay down the loan when I can. So I haven't seen any money. It's all gone back into the buildings, and I would love to just make a little bit of money.
So I want you to tell me a little bit about your non-paying tenant. How old is she? Is she a student? Tell me a little bit about her, and then I have one final question for you.
Okay. I believe she's 36. I know she's from Washington. She told me she went to UW. Another red flag. I said, oh, I went to UW. Nothing. Like usually people go, oh, I love it there, blah, blah, blah. So I believe Fran Gaze went to UW, had some sort of Facebook thing. Now her face is not on the Facebook thing. I think she was a runner. I don't think she works much. She's got a temper. She definitely has a temper. So I cannot imagine she can hold down a job with a temper like that. I mean, it just me being nice, like, hey, can we talk about this new lease? Because I got to go to work in the morning. That set her off. Paranoid about mold. So I had to go in and do a bunch of mold abatement just to make sure that I was squeaky clean. So paranoid about mold, paranoid about bugs. This person is I believe, has some major mental health problems. There's even in the basement, there's even a little first aid kit right there for me to see that says help on it. But I can't help her because she won't listen to anybody.
Right. Well, so even though she's not a squatter and she's a non-paying tenant, we do have the option, in the future to go in and become her housemates. So because you do have legitimately 2 other rooms in that house, we would have the option legally to move in on your non-paying tenant. So we don't have that option a lot of times with non-paying tenants because usually, they own the whole place. But in your situation, that is something, that we could in the future discuss. I don't want to jump right to that. Maybe we try going towards the rental board first, but that might be an option. So I want to ask a question, and this is something that it might be an uncomfortable question for you to answer, but it is something that I hear a lot from a lot of people that watch my channel, because there is a community out there that I believe falsely has this belief in their head that every homeowner is wealthy and that people have multiple houses shouldn't own multiple houses, and it should be illegal to own multiple houses is how it comes to me. So, what would you say to somebody that says, basically, it's, I don't care about your problem because you shouldn't own these houses and you're probably wealthy anyway?
Okay. So I'm, the bleeding heart liberal. I got my inheritance and I thought, what is the most ethical thing to do with my inheritance? Do I put it in the stock market and some big corporation is going to do whatever they want with my money? We're all seeing this, right? We are all seeing this. They can do whatever they want with my money. I could put it with the bank. The bank can do whatever they want with my money as long as they give me interest. Okay, I'm lucky. My grandmother worked really hard and took a lot of risks. To me, I feel that being a landlord is an honest trade. I invest, I take care of it, I have the money, and I rent to you, and that's how I make my profit. So most of my tenants, if I can, their rent is far below market values. I can't do much with the Berkeley places because my mortgage is massive. But I believe being a landlord is an honest, I give you this, you give me that. We are generally in control, as opposed to, oh, let me give it to the pharmaceutical companies. Let me give it to ExxonMobil because, man, they make great profits. So here I am, the environmentalist, worried about our country and our planet. And it's basically owning real estate is the working class way to invest. I'm just a couple steps up.
That's a great answer. And I have publicly said that I believe that landlords are a major contributor to our economy and they should be protected. And I believe that if all landlords got together and said, you know what, forget these non-paying tenants, forget these squatters, let's just not rent our places out for the next year, I believe our economy would crash and our homelessness would skyrocket. So, I thank you for being a responsible landlord and taking care of your tenants, the way you do. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us. And I will see what I can do for you. And, and hopefully we can keep everyone posted on that. So, so thank you very much for joining me today, especially, last minute like you did. All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
right.
everybody else.
All right. You have a good evening.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. So, when she reached out to me, she was distraught, feeling like she just didn't know where to turn, was, just was being threatened. And it's really hard to deal with someone who just starts screaming harassment every time you try to talk to them, and you try to, just have a civil conversation with someone who just says, you're harassing me. And I've come across people like that, and it's very difficult to deal with them. When she reached out to me, she did her Zoom with me. She literally was in her classroom doing a Zoom with me, with her teacher, with her students, behind the screen. And so, anyway, but I wanted to bring her on. I'm going to start bringing on more guests that are going to tell different stories, from nightmare squatters to nightmare tenants, to whatever different things and stages in life they want to share that they think they can help with this channel. So, I thank those of you who joined me live. Love you. Thank you so much for the support. If you couldn't make the live and you're restreaming this, this will repeat after this if you came in late, and it will also be rebroadcast as a video as well. And some of you are joining this, when it's a video. And thank you for watching. And I hope you tune in again. I'm trying to do this, Squatter Talk Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. The other thing I want to talk about is tomorrow night, I'm on Access, or tomorrow, I'm not sure what time, I'm on Access Hollywood, Access Hollywood. It's actually Access Daily that I'm on. It's the daytime version. I went on with my friend Allison Trizell and Mario Lopez, and went on there to talk about my upcoming show that airs and premieres on A&E Network on Tuesday, July 1st. So went on there to promote the show, talk about it. It was a great interview. I love everyone over there at NBC, at Access Hollywood. They're just a great crew, from the producers up and down. So anyway, so catch that if you can, and and remember, tune in July 1st, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. So anyway, join in July 1st. My premiere is on A&E Network, and it's there's 2 episodes back to back, one at 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for joining me. And like I always say at the end, if you ever have an intruder, you have somebody in your home that is not authorized to be there, don't approach them yourself. It's not worth your life. It's property. Call law enforcement. No matter where you are, no matter what state you're in, law enforcement's job is to keep things peaceful, keep it safe. Let them go in, let them approach your intruder, and make sure that your home is safe. If they walk out and tell you, I'm sorry, you have a squatter, it's a civil matter, there's nothing we can do, that's when you want to just reach out to me, reach out to squatterhunters.com. Let's talk, and let's figure out an outside the box solution and see how I can help you and how you can help yourself. Thank you for joining. Be safe out there. Take care now. See you next week.